Good start.
Great.
Hi, guys. My name's Lauren Vestal here today with Ashley Nott, who is a therapist. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
And you recently started your own practice.
I did. Ashley Nott Therapy, pretty original name. Took a lot of workshopping to get there. But yeah, so I am a therapist, a licensed clinical social worker. And I recently, last week actually, was my first week on flying the nest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have your own space, so you meet with people virtually and in person, right?
Yes, yeah. So I am virtual 2 days a week, and then I meet in office. My office is at East Memphis, and I'm doing that 2 days a week.
Sweet.
Yeah, very much needed Fridays off. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Family Fridays.
or my alone
Or
self-care Friday, more like
for
it.
myself
Yes,
Fridays. Equally as important.
100%.
So how'd you decide to go out on your own?
Well, it's always been the goal. So for social work, it's you have to have 3,000 hours of clinical,
That's a
clinical
lot.
work. Yeah,
How
it's
long does
quite
that
a bit.
take, actually?
It took me, well, having a child in the midst of that, it took me about 2.5 years. So right when I got licensed in February, I kind of made the decision that it was time.
It's time.
It was time to go on my own.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's very exciting. Yeah.
And you tell us about like the type of clients that you work with primarily and your approach, all that good stuff.
Sure. What loaded question.
Yeah.
No. So the clients that I typically work with, women who are in the postpartum stage of life. And also relational therapy. Not a lot of people are familiar with what relational therapy is. It's our relationship with others, relationship with self. And so I do see a lot of women who have relationship issues. My approach is kind of all over the place, I think. I don't have
Depending on the person.
Depending on the person, exactly. I don't have like a specialty per se, but I'll use a lot of CBT and
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, yes.
For those of you who need
Yeah.
that explanation.
Sorry, yes, cognitive behavioral therapy.
And you said something really important in there. Do a lot of people realize that the relationship with themselves is such a big component before they come to you?
Um, Typically not. It's definitely something that we uncover, you know, as we progress in our sessions. A lot of times it's people coming to me just wanting to know maybe why relationships aren't working out the way that they envisioned them to or expected them to. And it turns into we settle for the love we deserve or we think we deserve. And so what is it we think we deserve?
Yeah.
Right. And that's when it comes into like right, exactly. Kind of opens Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do in those instances when people are like,
it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. No. We do a lot of internal work, right? We work on, I do go back into childhood. I think that's important, especially when we're talking about our relationship with ourselves, and kind of what was modeled to us with how to have a relationship with ourselves and with other people.
Yeah.
And so we kind of do a deep dive into attachment theories, things like that. So
yeah. I know when I first started thinking about that I was like, no, I can be really hard on myself, but I'll have a lot of grace with you. And then I realized, no, I'm holding everybody to the same standard that I'm holding myself. And
exactly.
maybe I can have a little grace for myself in the process, too, and kind of reworking that. But it's a journey, and it's not fun all the time to look at those things.
Yeah, and I'll say this: like we are in a era of like really talking about mental health. And I, tell my clients all the time and friends and family that, we're kind of lucky, although we're having to go back and unpack a lot of like traumas from our childhood, if we have them, or just, anything to do with our childhood. Mental health is a lot more accepted now. So it's not fun, but I think it's a little bit, the stigma's been kind of busted a little bit
lifting,
which is nice.
Okay, everybody's got something they're walking around with, whether it's like big T trauma, little T trauma, or just anxiety or something that you're ruminating on from the past or worrying about for the future. Everybody's got something they're dealing with.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be big, huge,
right.
deal.
Right.
It can just be, I mean, I have plenty of clients who just want to come and talk, they just want someone to listen. So,
right. And a safe, kind of unbiased
mm-hmm.
place where they can say all the things they need to say, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what do you like about, I guess, from the business side of things? Now you get to kind of create your own schedule, be your own boss. How are you feeling about that?
It's wonderful. Yeah. So like I said, I work Monday through Thursday. And so that's been lovely. I have a 3-year-old son. And he's a lot. He's the joy of my life.
He is,
of course,
delightful, and he's so sweet.
Yeah, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. I'm just trying not to mess him up, but we do the best we can. But yeah, so I kind of structured my schedule around him with his, school and stuff like that. So that's been really important to me.
Yeah.
Again, being in the day and age where, or coming from the day and age of our parents not necessarily being able to stay home with us, because they couldn't, it was important to me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
He's so cute. So what would you say to your clients who, or if anybody's thinking about therapy, or they're saying like, I've got a lot of anxiety, but or things like it's not that bad, or I can handle it, or thinking of themselves like I should be able to handle this myself. What would you say to them?
I would say you don't have to handle it yourself. Why would you, kind of deal? If there's someone available that can at least just listen, and maybe give a little bit of feedback on how to navigate that, so you don't have to carry the burden of having the anxiety and then also trying to figure out how to manage the anxiety, then maybe therapy's a good choice for you. And then I would say do your research on who you choose as your therapist. I think that's really important to put out there, as someone who is a therapist, as someone who's been in therapy for a really long time. I think it's really important the person you choose to be someone that you connect with and feel like you can trust.
Right.
So both of those things I think are really helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
How do people do research on that?
There's a lot of ways. So Psychology Today is a website. You can go in and basically tailor make, who you're looking for, what you're looking for. Word of mouth, if you know somebody in therapy, or know of somebody who knows of somebody who's in therapy. Yeah. You don't want to out anybody, but which it's okay if you do, because therapy's not a bad thing. But word of mouth and Psychology Today, I think, are the best. And then obviously social media platforms, searching therapists in your area that way can be helpful. Yeah.
That's a really good point, because you think like, okay, all therapy is not like, same with coaching, like all coaching and all therapy is not created equally.
No,
right?
No, so, absolutely not. Yeah.
You find the coach or the therapist that works for you.
Yeah. And if you have like if you have specific things that you want to like target, you can search in that realm of therapists, because not all therapists are the same or created equal.
Yeah, I know. How do I say that in like
it's okay. I mean that in the most like loving way. Yeah. We just aren't.
No, I'll rephrase. Not all therapists are for everybody.
Correct.
And yeah.
And it's okay to recognize that.
Right.
I think that's so important.
Just like a client might not be for every therapist, right? You have to find the right match.
Absolutely.
Same with coaching, same with like as a yoga teacher, like you might not like my class, and that's okay. The person who's next to you on the mat might love coming to my class.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be the teacher for everybody.
Fair.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I will cry later.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Well, I will talk to my therapist. I will talk to my therapist.
You can come back to that.
You'll circle back. Anyway, took that away for later.
Highlighted quote. Perfect. Okay, well, what else do you want to talk about today?
Well, I want to know, so obviously in therapy, breathing is something that, I talk to my clients about all the time. I think that there's so much power in being able to like breathe to regulate like your nervous system. So I guess from someone who's not necessarily a therapist, but does a lot with clients who like, are either probably in therapy, or maybe they're seeking something from you that, to help regulate themselves in some way. Like, I guess tell me more about that.
Like Teach me.
Yeah, I'm like, tell me all of your ways, please, master.
Well, yeah, we do a lot of nervous system regulation using the breath as a tool. Like the first thing we look at is how you're breathing. So we see if you come to me and you're like,
Sits up straight.
Trust me. It's impossible. People are like, as soon as you know, as soon as they know that I'm watching them breathe, they're like, okay, what am I
gotta
supposed
do
to
it
be
perfectly.
doing? Yeah,
Yes.
so automatically it changes. But the first things we watch for, or we work on breathing mechanics, because most people, if they're breathing up into your chest, you're keeping yourself in a more stressed state, just as a baseline. Also, nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. If you're breathing through your mouth, again, you're probably breathing more up into the chest. It's going to be more shallow. It's again not going to be great for your nervous system, but also for your body to work optimally.
Okay.
So the first thing we talk about is breathing through your nose on a daily basis. And
not me over here trying to.
Some people are like, oh, I have a deviated septum, or I have allergies, or this and that. And like deviated septum, real thing. You can work through that. Sometimes requires surgery. It just depends on consult your doctor on that. But breathing through the nose is kind of a use it or lose it thing. And we've got like a nasal decongesting exercise we can do, and different things like that. But it takes practice. I mean, just I'm sure like the work that you do with people, like you're gonna fall back into the habits that you've been doing for decades.
Yeah.
And so giving yourself
absolutely.
like time to change those patterns, like in our world, like not only the mindset that goes along with it, but just the physical aspect of it, like reminding yourself to breathe,
being intentional about it. That's so true, because they are connected. We can talk about something in sessions all day long. We can breathe properly in a session with you all day long, but if we're not doing it outside of that 50-minute or hour window every 2 weeks or every week, I mean, yeah, that's exactly right.
So we talk about nasal breathing, and then breathing lower using the diaphragm, which is your main breathing muscle.
Okay.
And then slowing the breath down. Like if we're sitting on a park bench and you sit down next to me and you're like, I'm like, either you just ran a mile.
Wait, where did you?
Fast.
Yeah, did you see me out recently?
Taking videos. Or like you've got some major health issues, like something's going on with you, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about breathing in and out through the nose, lower and slower, kind of our 3 things for everyday breathing.
Wow. Okay.
So focusing on that on a daily basis, and to help kind of get you back to a baseline, less stress state on like from a physical perspective, and then just kind of noticing how the mind follows that, but also realizing like it's not, there are times like stress is still going to happen.
Sure.
The sympathetic nervous system is going to get turned on. We want that to happen, your fight or flight. So but we need to know how to regulate it, and that's kind of step 2. Like, okay, let's breathe from a mechanical perspective the right way on a daily basis, and then start to learn how to use the breath as a tool to kind of bring you back down when things get a little bit heightened.
Okay.
So
so that, I mean, that I think that fits right in with like the therapy approach that I take a lot too, is like in the moment, right? Being able to recognize the feelings that you're having, do some breathing the right way.
Yeah.
Because I imagine if you're not necessarily doing it properly, then I mean something may happen, but the anticipated outcome may not.
Well, I like thinking about my clients who have panic attacks, for example. If they I was reading a study a couple weeks ago. It's like the body actually starts giving you signals about 40, I think the study was 47 minutes in advance of like a panic attack that you feel like happens out of the blue.
Yeah.
But it's like, so learning how to start paying attention to your heart rate picking up, you start sweating a little bit, maybe like some tingles or like different kind of energy moving through the body, not in a like woo-woo sense of it, but like,
like
you
a
can
physical
feel the like kind of the shaky, So learning how to recognize the things that are kind of coming on, and then notice how you're breathing to start to slow everything back down.
Okay.
And then noticing, like taking a step further and like maybe a little bit more into your world, like from a mindset perspective, okay, where are my thoughts going? And how do I use the breath to like bring myself back to the present moment to rewrite the script, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
great. So would you say like breathing is more of like the preamble to the deep work, or
I think it's often like an entry point for some people. And it can just stay like on a physical plane, right? Like I want to know how to breathe optimally so that I can perform optimally, whether it's in the weight room or like for a competition, like athletic performance wise. but it can also just be on a daily basis, like, you know, watching somebody get up to give a talk or a debate, something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so like the nerves and stuff.
keeping themselves under control so they can actually deliver the message.
Okay.
That type of thing, a big talk or different presentation. But especially if you have somebody coming at you, like if whether somebody cuts you off in traffic or if, you know, somebody gets into an argument, being able to kind of calm your breath down, slow yourself down.
Or when your toddler's trying to jump off of the table for the 15th time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And so but in order, like, to be able to control yourself enough to not be like freak out at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like actually stay and model for, in the case of our 3-year-olds, you know, you don't have to scream, you don't have to freak out. Now, does that happen? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, are you perfect? Because show me your ways.
But I have been able much more so to be able to like recognize in the moment when I'm getting to that spot to hopefully try to avoid more of those instances, to be like, okay, nope, you need a timeout, I need a timeout, I'm gonna go.
We all need a timeout.
Like, you're not in trouble, I'm not, but like, let's just both take time out. Okay.
Let's go breathe.
Yeah. And of course, as a 3-year-old, he's like, and I'm like, no, slow. You have to do it slow. You're defeating the whole purpose of
you're like, actually, we need to. I know when we started, when, you know, obviously my 3-year-old started tantruming, I would be like, okay, we're gonna take some deep breaths, and now he's just like, no, not breathing. I'm like,
you're
not. Yeah.
Which apparently is also a thing.
Holding their breath.
Hold their breath. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Thank God Homer doesn't do that. I would probably freak out, but yeah. Yeah. Call Lauren over. Come get this toddler.
Well, I mean, even like if you think about little kids too, like we watch babies and they breathe properly. You know, you see their belly rise, you see their ribs expand, their chest stays down for the most part, and then as they get older, we start to see these different, more vertical breathing patterns.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could talk about that more, but all that to say, yeah, like all these littles with anxiety and things like that. Like I've worked with a couple 7-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, man.
Well,
and even just like a little bit of work with them has helped. So.
Yeah, the breathing. Yeah, and so for like my side of things, it's, you know, determining what it is at 13 or 12 years old is what's triggering that anxiety in you.
Yeah.
You know, because our environment affects us tremendously. I know we talk about our relationship with ourselves, but a lot of times how we see ourselves or how we, you know, process or react to things is a direct result of our environment.
Right.
You know,
and watching probably, I would imagine, the reaction of your parents
100%
in those instances. Just like we were talking about, like if I can keep myself under control, that's going to, again, model for you
how to regulate. As a parent, it's our job. I think that's not stated enough. Louder for the people in the back. It is our job to teach our children how to regulate their emotions.
Right.
And most of us don't know how to do that.
Right. If we can't do it for ourselves, how can we possibly teach them?
We don't know how to do it for ourselves. Right. So teaching them how to do it when they are pushing. One thing I have found out after having a child is that I am not the person I thought I was. I thought I was the most patient human that walked this earth. I'm not. I'm just not. Maybe with other people, like you said, everybody else I hold space for, but when it comes to the triggers that my son pushes for me, because it cuts deep. Yeah. You know, it's not just like a friend who, you know, ghosted you. It's like your toddler, you know,
every night
picking, and not even just like, you know, what he does, like just being a 3-year-old. It's just, you know, what he represents and what he makes me think about and things like that. So it just goes, yep. Love him.
I know. Oh God, yeah, they're wonderful. And they can be hard.
And it can be both. It can be both.
With like so many things in life.
Yeah.
It can be both. Oh, I just was going to say something. I forget what it was.
I know. I'll ramble. So
no, I love it. No, it was something about what you, like, it was in the same vein. But no, I think what you're saying, like, it's our job to figure out how, even if it's now, like, it's never too late to start.
Oh,
either.
gosh,
I think
never.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like, people are like, oh, I'll figure it out, or like I'm already this old, so it's what I'm not
Mm-mm.
going to do it, or I don't
Mm-mm.
have time. It's
That's a
like,
big
okay,
one.
do you have,
Yeah.
you're driving to wherever, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're in the car, you can breathe
Yeah. Yeah,
while you're
exactly.
driving at a red light,
Yeah.
at a
Do you have a
stop
lunch
sign.
break?
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a lunch break, do you have, and 50 minutes at home to hop on, I think virtual, like, for all the things COVID brought, virtual therapy, I think,
Mm.
was one of the better things.
Thank God. Thank God for you during COVID, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, and it just makes it so much more accessible. I mean, nothing takes away like the
Mhm.
face-to-face
Right.
interaction. I
Yeah.
think that's so, so important. That's why I offer both.
Mhm.
But a lot of my clients are working, or it helps to take away some of those
Yeah.
excuses.
Or just like the travel time and
The
it'll cut
travel,
out.
right, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And same, like I work with people virtually and in person. It's great when
Yeah.
I can be like, can you breathe? Not here, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, can you like breathe more into the back ribs,
Yes.
and like give them some like tactile feedback is
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
But, we do a lot of virtual also.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
it's just as effective.
Oh, for sure.
What did
Yeah.
oh, that's what I was gonna say. This is taking it back to the children.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my friends sent me something after, I think it was like a particularly challenging afternoon with our 3-year-old, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it said like little kids are 800 or times more, like they act out 800 times more with their mom than anybody
Mm-hmm.
else. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if this is real, but it feels like it's
It
real.
that sounds like a real statistic. I would agree. I think, when our children are so much more where their safe
Right.
place, like where their home base.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna, be completely and fully 100% themselves when they're with us.
My husband's like, "Do you act like this at school?" And he's like, "No."
Mm-mm. Oh no. No, I think they become a little like this age, like the
Uh-huh.
3-year-old age. They are a little bit comfortable with their teachers,
Mhm.
but especially getting up older, like we're the ones that are getting,
Yeah.
So even more important for us to be able to like
Right.
learn how to breathe and
Exactly.
regulate our emotions and show
Mhm.
up for them in a different way
Yeah.
that maybe we would originally
Right.
be triggered to show up.
And understanding that like you will not show up in the way that you want to show up
Right.
at times.
Yes.
And it's not going to be perfect. And like,
Right.
what is perfect? And that's a whole
Yeah.
other
And that goes back to
conversation.
giving yourself grace.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're humans. Just
Hmm.
because we're parents or just because we're, employees or, whatever, like we're going to fail other people.
Hmm.
That's just
Yeah.
how it works,
Right. And you have a choice in the matter. It doesn't always feel like it, but like if you don't show up in the way that you want to, or if you do fail somebody, what do you learn from that?
Right.
And do you
Yeah.
stay like wallowing in that,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
shaming yourself or feeling guilty or just beating yourself up about it, or do you learn from it and move on?
Yeah.
And, depending on the situation, apologize for it.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's about our reaction and
Right.
our action
Mhm.
afterward. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it.
Me too. It's great stuff.
So, like, oh, perfect. Um, if you had to give like one or two like top takeaways for what you want people to know, or just that like you want to put out there in the world,
Sure.
what would it be?
Well, I think a lot of times with therapy, people think they need a crisis
Uh-huh.
or a huge loss or something major to have happened. And a lot of times that is kind of what triggers us to go to therapy.
Mhm.
But that's not like a requirement.
Right.
Anybody can go to therapy. And you may not know why you would need to go or what to talk about, but that's where therapists will come in
Mhm.
and help you see like, okay, let's talk about it. Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
And even if you don't feel like you have something, it's just a safe place to just exist
Mhm.
and have someone hold space for you in a way that you may have never been felt like someone was holding space for. So
Right.
you don't have to have a crisis or something major to go to therapy, I think is one kind of big takeaway. And I know we talked a little bit about like the different roles that we all play in our life, mom, coach or therapist or employee or whatever. Just being able to get back to like a sense of self.
Mhm.
Like who am I? Like who
Mhm.
is Ashley?
Yeah.
Because sure, I'm a cook and a mom and a wife and a therapist and all these things, but like who am I?
Right. Because those are all just labels, right?
Exactly.
They don't define.
Yeah.
I mean, they add to who you are as like a person in the world,
Sure.
but like who are you at your core? And
right.
what does that look like?
Yeah.
And what do you want it to look like?
Exactly. Yeah. So those, are some of the kind of takeaways that I feel like important, like when you have a platform to just throw out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also, not only do you not have to have a crisis, but it's not, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but in the sense of, it's not like you're trying to find something
to
like uncover, right?
Yeah,
like it can be about just being a better version, or like optimizing kind of how you're existing, right?
Yes. Exactly kind of what we just talked about, having like the role, you are everything to everyone else, or maybe you don't know what your purpose is, or maybe you do, like that's great too. But just like, yeah, exactly, what kind of version of myself do I want to be?
Right.
Am I the best version of myself?
And even if I feel like I am, are there other little things that I can start doing or optimizing, or so I can show up better in the world?
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. No, that's exactly right. Do you want a job at my practice? No.
Can you hand out licenses?
Can you? I wish that would be lovely.
Like, I guess that requires more school.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
I don't want to take any more tests.
Oh, no, that was the nice part about being done. No more tests.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I am doing a big certification though, starting this late summer, fall.
Okay, so you have a big test coming then.
Yeah, at the end of that, there will be a big test.
Yeah. Great. We love to see it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was good chatting.
Yeah, likewise. And I'll throw all of Ashley's contact info, everything in the, I guess we call them show notes.
Great.
So look for it there. Follow
your
new Instagram. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can look me up on Psychology Today, which I mentioned earlier. Ashley Nott. You can also, my website is therapyashleynott.com. And I have an Instagram, ashleynott.therapy. I'm so self-absorbed.
I mean, no, it's
how many times? NOTT.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there. No K. So yeah, all the platforms, all the things. Ashley, if you just look up Ashley Nott, you should be able to find me.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank
you so much, Lauren.
Thank you.
It's lovely.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.